Hello, lovely, and welcome back to the Compassionate Curiosity Podcast, a space where we explore the messy, beautiful, challenging project of being human. I'm your host, Rachel, a women's wellness coach and yoga and mindfulness teacher at Tranquilo Pal Wellness. And my mission is to help women who feel stuck in cycles of stress, whether that's stress tied to their bodies, burnout, or emotional overwhelm, to find peace again and reclaim self trust so they can finally feel like themselves again. And here in this space, we dive into the stories we carry about food, movement, our bodies, stress, and self worth, sharing tools, reflections, and lived experience to help you soften the pressure, reconnect with your body, and create more space in your life to breathe, rest, and just be, all guided by curiosity and grounded in compassion. And if you're not already following the show, take a quick second to hit follow so that you never miss a new episode. And I am so glad to have you here with me today. Today, I want to talk about two little phrases that can hide a whole lot. The first one is, I'm fine. This is the one that we say to others so they don't worry, so we don't have to explain, so we can just keep going. And the other one is, I should be fine. This is the one we say to ourselves when we look at our life and think, I'm functioning, I'm doing all the things, so why do I still feel so tired, so flat, so disconnected? Both of these can mask what's really going on underneath. And I want to start off by saying that this isn't about shaming or judging how you cope. Coping is a skill and it's helped you survive. We all do the best we can with the tools we've learned along the way. And the way we learn to cope is shaped by so many things: how we were supported or not growing up, the examples we saw from family or community, cultural messages about strength and independence, our own biology and genetic predispositions, and even past experiences that taught us what felt safe or unsafe to express. So, whatever coping looks like right now for you, know that it is valid and it is understandable. You had good reasons for developing it, and it's been there for you in the ways that it could. So, what we're exploring today is simply how those same skills that once protected us might sometimes hide deeper exhaustion, and how they might be ready for an update so that we can feel less like we're just surviving and more like we're actually living. And so, before we dive in, I want to invite you to join me here in a moment of just being, just taking a minute to connect with your breath, to check in with yourself. And so, if you are safe and able to right now, I invite you to gently close your eyes and just start by taking a deep breath in through your nose and letting out a long breath through your nose. And taking a few more deep breaths like this at your own pace. And then just let your breath settle into its natural rhythm, however that is right now. And just notice any sensations in your body as you breathe in and as you breathe out. And now I invite you to shift your attention to your face, just noticing any sensations there. Maybe you notice tension in your jaw or your forehead, maybe tingling, pressure. Whatever it is, just notice and just let it be as it is. And then come back to your breath. And let's take one more deep breath in through the nose. And a long breath out through the nose. And when you're ready, gently opening your eyes and coming back to this space. Thank you so much. Okay. So let's start by looking at the phrase, I'm fine. Why do we say this so often when what we really are is the exact opposite of that a lot of the times? Well, I think we say it because it's easy, because it feels safer than opening the floodgates, because sometimes we don't have the time, the energy, or the words to explain what's really going on. And let's be honest, sometimes we're not even sure ourselves what the hell is going on. So, in that sense, I'm fine can be a shield. It keeps the conversation light, it protects us from feeling like a burden. It spares us from the awkward pause that happens when someone asks, "How are you?" and we respond with something that's actually true. Maybe this has been the case for you. You're in the grocery store, someone you know says, "Hey, how are you?" You smile and say, "I'm fine," and keep walking, even though your chest feels tight and you haven't slept well in weeks. Or you're on a Zoom call, someone asks you how things are going, and you say, "Good, busy, but good." Meanwhile, your brain and body are screaming for a break. And first of all, it is okay to not be okay. It's more than okay. It means you're human. Feeling stressed, tired, or overwhelmed at times isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a sign that you're human, that you're alive, and that you're carrying things that matter. And again, this isn't about shaming ourselves for saying I'm fine, right? This in and of itself is a coping tool. It's a way to keep moving without stopping to unpack everything that you're carrying. Sometimes it's necessary. Like maybe you're about to walk into a work meeting and someone in the hallway asks how you're doing. You're not about to dive into the details of your insomnia or the stress you've been under, right? Or maybe you're at a family gathering and sharing how you really feel in that moment would just invite unwanted advice or turn into a bigger conversation than you have the capacity for. So, in moments like that, I'm fine can be a boundary. And in that way, is a way to protect your energy until you have a safe space and the emotional bandwidth to share more. But if it becomes your default answer, it can start to mask how much you're really holding, even from yourself. It can train you to bypass what you're really feeling. And over time, we can get so used to sounding fine that we start believing we are fine. And that's where burnout can sneak in under the radar. And when that bypassing becomes second nature, it doesn't just stay in our conversations with other people, it starts to turn inward. So now let's look at the "I should be fine" phrase. This is a little different than "I'm fine." This one isn't usually for other people, it's for us. It's not about what we're telling others, it's about what we're telling ourselves. It's that quiet internal voice that shows up when we look at our life and think, I have a job, I have a home, I'm meeting my deadlines, I'm checking the boxes. So why do I feel so tired? Why am I still anxious? Why do I just feel off? And because we can't find an obvious reason for how we feel, we turn it back on ourselves, saying, I should be fine. Almost like we're criticizing ourselves for not holding it together better. And sometimes that comes from comparing ourselves to others, like other people have it harder and they're not falling apart. Or sometimes it comes from comparing to our past selves, like I used to handle way more than this without feeling so drained. I've heard women say this in the middle of some of the hardest seasons of their lives, seasons filled with grief, caretaking, relentless work demands, and they're still telling themselves they should be okay just because they're still able to keep going. But here's why this is so tricky. High functioning burnout makes it possible to keep going and doing. You're meeting deadlines, taking care of others, showing up, which makes it really easy to miss that inside you're running on fumes. And again, this isn't about judgment, right? That I should be fine voice often comes from the same place as the I'm fine voice. It's a survival strategy. Sometimes we convince ourselves we're fine because the alternative feels too overwhelming to face in that moment. And just like I'm fine, there are moments when I should be fine feels necessary to push through. The challenge and the opportunity here is noticing when it's no longer just a push through moment and when it's become your default way of speaking to yourself and therefore your default way of living. That's when it's worth pausing to ask, what if fine isn't the goal? What if feeling whole, rested, and supported is the goal instead? And sometimes, if you've been living in I'm fine or I should be fine mode for a long time, it can be hard to even recognize when you're not okay. Which brings us to a really important question here of why do so many of us miss the signs of burnout or chronic stress? Especially when, from the outside, it seems like we've got everything handled. Part of it is cultural conditioning, right? From the time that we're little, so many of us are praised for being strong, responsible, the one people can count on. Those words become part of our identity. We start to believe our worth is tied to our ability to handle everything without falling apart. Then there's the worth through performance trap, feeling valuable only when we're producing, achieving, giving. It's that internal scoreboard that's always measuring how much you've done today and deciding if you earned your rest. And another piece is nervous system normalization. If you've been in go, go, go state for months or years, your body adjusts. That constant low-grade stress becomes your baseline. And when you do try to slow down, it feels weird, uncomfortable, maybe even unsafe. So you go back to what's familiar. The signs that you might be missing the early signals of burnout or chronic stress aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they look like snapping at small things you'd normally let slide, lying in bed exhausted but unable to sleep because your mind won't stop, feeling emotionally flat, like joy is muted or totally out of reach, having a hard time being present with people you love, or quiet resentment about always being the dependable one, even if you'd never say it out loud. And here's the compassionate truth with all of this. If you've missed these signs, it does not mean you have failed or that there's anything wrong with you or that you're just not self-aware enough. It means that you've adapted. You've been doing your best with what you have. The shift here isn't about beating yourself up for not catching it sooner. It's about gently starting to notice the signals now so that you can respond differently moving forward. So now I want to shift into the difference between coping and connecting, because they're not the same thing, even though they can look similar from the outside. Coping is about getting through. It's about keeping the wheels spinning, meeting the demands, doing what needs to be done. And again, sometimes that's exactly what's needed, right? Coping has probably gotten you through some of the hardest seasons of your life. I know I can definitely relate to that. But coping doesn't always help you feel more grounded or in touch with yourself. It doesn't always refill your energy or restore your sense of self. And so that is where connection comes in. Connecting is about tuning back into yourself. It's slowing down enough to actually notice how you're feeling physically, emotionally, mentally, and responding to those needs with compassion instead of judgment. The thing is, is that from the outside, coping and connecting can look really similar. You might be doing the same tasks, making dinner, showing up for work, getting the kids ready for school, but the why and how behind it feel completely different. Here's an example. Coping might be making dinner while running on autopilot, already thinking about the next 10 things you need to do. Connecting might be making dinner while noticing the smell of the garlic, the sound of the pan sizzling, maybe even taking a deep breath and letting yourself feel the warmth of the kitchen. Do you see the difference? One keeps you moving, the other helps you be here. And moving from coping to connecting doesn't mean you throw out your coping skills. It means you expand your options. It's not just about pushing through the day. It's about giving yourself moments to actually experience it. Moments to feel present, cared for, and supported, even in just small, simple ways. So, if coping keeps you moving and connecting helps you actually be in your life, the next question is, how do we start creating those connection moments when we've been in coping mode for so long? The good news is it doesn't have to be a complete lifestyle makeover. You don't have to quit your job, move to the mountains, or meditate for an hour a day to feel more connected, although you can absolutely do all of those things. But a lot of the time, the smallest shifts are what make the biggest difference. So let's talk about 3 simple tools that you can start using today to help you move from just functioning to feeling more present, supported, and alive in your day-to-day. So the first tool is the dual check-in. We've talked about I'm fine and I should be fine. So this is a quick way to notice when either one might be on repeat. So ask yourself 2 questions. What am I telling others right now? And what am I telling myself? If there's a gap between the two, pause and get curious about what's underneath without rushing to change it, without judging yourself. Just noticing the gap is a form of reconnecting with yourself. The second tool is the 2-minute body scan. One of the quickest ways to shift from autopilot into connection is to check in with your body, because your body often tells the truth long before your mind catches up. When we've been in I'm fine mode for a while, we can get so used to bypassing our own signals that we forget what they even feel like. So this is where the simple 2-minute body scan comes in. Place a hand on your chest or belly, close your eyes if it feels comfortable, and slowly scan your body from the top of your head to your toes. And see if you can name just 3 sensations you notice. Maybe it's tension in your shoulders, warmth in your hands, a flutter in your stomach, tingling in your feet, anything. You're not trying to get rid of anything or make it feel different. You're simply giving your body a chance to speak and yourself the chance to listen. The third tool is a self-permission statement. Start with choosing just one day this week to do this and write down one permission you want to give yourself on that day. So it could be, I give myself permission to take a nap without feeling guilty. I give myself permission to leave the dishes in the sink tonight. I give myself permission to cancel plans if I'm not up for them. Or I give myself permission to cry in the shower or anywhere for that matter and not pull it together right away. Keep that permission statement somewhere you'll see it, maybe on your desk, in your phone notes, on a sticky note on the fridge, as a reminder that you have the right to honor your needs. So, all in all, these tools aren't about pushing away discomfort or chasing any particular feeling. What you're doing here is creating space to meet yourself exactly where you are, and from there, making choices that actually truly support you. So, as we wrap up here, let's recap a few takeaways. Whether it's I'm fine or I should be fine, both phrases can help us get through the day, but they can also keep us from checking in with ourselves. Neither makes you weak. Neither means you're doing something wrong. They're just signals, invitations, even to pause and ask, what's really going on for me right now? And to remember that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have seasons where coping is all you've got. You've been doing the best you can with the tools you've learned along the way. And now you get to decide if those tools still serve you, or if it might be time to add some new ones that help you feel more present, more supported, and more connected to yourself. You don't have to overhaul your life to shift from just functioning to truly living. It starts with small intentional moments, a quick check in, a deep breath, a self permission statement that remind you that you're allowed to take up space, you're allowed to rest, you're allowed to care for yourself without earning it first. So be gentle with yourself. Whatever coping looks like for you right now, it is valid, and you're worthy of rest, connection, and acceptance, exactly as you are. So, my dear, if this episode stirred something in you, I'd love to hear what came up. Maybe a moment you recognize yourself in, or an I'm fine or I should be fine phrase you've caught yourself saying lately. You can reach out anytime or come join us in the Compassionate Curiosity community. It's a free space for women reconnecting to themselves with compassion and curiosity. And if someone in your life could use this reminder today, I'd love for you to share this episode with them. Maybe it's exactly what they need to hear right now, and you get to be that beautiful bridge that delivers it to them. And if you're feeling the call to explore this more deeply, maybe you're ready to shift from just coping to truly connecting. You're always welcome to book a free Breathe Again Insight session with me. You can learn more about that and find all the links I mentioned in the show notes below. And as always, if this episode spoke to you, I'd be so grateful if you followed the show or left a quick rating or review. That really helps these messages reach the people who need them most. And so as we part here today, what is one small way that you can connect with yourself today? Maybe you try the 2-minute body scan. Maybe it's just one conscious breath you take today. Maybe it's letting yourself say, I'm not fine, to someone you trust. Whatever it is, let it be enough, because it is. And thank you so much for joining me today. And until next time, my dear, may you know that you are not alone. I am here with you. May you be guided by curiosity and grounded in compassion. Sending you love, light, and gratitude today and always.